Is this the best EZX Toontrack ever released so far? Stay tuned for more. Hey fellow musicians, drummers, subscribers out there, thanks for tuning in. The Pop Punk EZX latest expansion, Toontrack released last week, some days ago. Didn't find the time to do the review before that. For every one of you, like always, who don't want to listen to my talking, I've made another video, just the preset and the instruments without any talking. Just click on the little info box in the top right corner to see that. And additionally, I've released a drum cover from a Green Day track from some years ago. So if you want to listen to the drums in context to music, just click on the link in the description box below. So, the Pop Punk EZX. I said in the beginning, maybe this is the best EZX Toontrack released so far. The reason for that is it's not about only the sound of this EZX, which is amazing, and I will show you in a second. But for me, it's kind of like the consequent interpretation of this EZX. Like Toontrack really said, going all the way to really match that specific sound, which started in the 90s and gave me back some memories, because this is my my college time in the 90s when I was a teenager and listening to Green Day and Blink182 and Good Charlotte and all the good stuff. So before we dive in, we show you all the specs and some sound examples. As always, I highly recommend going to Toontrack's website because, like always, and look at this background picture here, is like kind of like a picture of my childhood. I had the exact same back here, and of course, I did some skateboarding, and so really cool insights here. Scrolling down, you'll find all the specs, audio demos, as always, the making of, amazing pictures. The stuff that was included, I will talk about them in a few, some further audio examples, pictures, instrument list, as always. So always a good research and a good basis for like some additional information. So going back to the EZX, the pop punk, which is really dedicated to all the good sounds back from the days with Green Day, Blink182, Panic! At the Disco, The Offspring, you name it. So the sound that really defined a whole generation, my generation as well. So this was kind of like, beside alternative rock, listening to Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden, pop punk or Green Day was really one of the bands and the music that defined my childhood and really made me a drummer, kind of like, because I always loved Travis Baker and Trey Cool. Speaking of those two, the pop punk, and I said this in the beginning, like the love of detail Toontrack put into this project and recently did in the last product is really amazing. So as always, when you look at the picture, really nice graphical details, and Toontrack always kind of like hides some additional, let's say, gems to find out. Not only this is the exact same setup that Travis Barker uses for Blink182 with the side snare, the brand of the drums, which I will talk about in a few, 1 up, 1 down configuration, 2 crashes, splash cymbal, additional effects, and the China. But you see here in the background, you see like those guitars hanging at the wall. They are, of course, a reference to Billy Joe Armstrong, the frontman of Green Day. And looking at the cover from this Pop Punk EZX, this is, of course, a reference to one of the most iconic albums ever to be released in the last 2 decades, Dookie from Green Day, revolutionary, fantastic album. So all those references that Toontrack puts into this product are really amazing. But let's start talking about the instruments, including here. You will see, let's for instance here in the kick, they used SJC, which is a kind of like a custom-made company from the US. And we have some Orange County drums here for the snare drum and for the toms. And the cool thing here, talking about references, especially Trey Cool and Travis Barker, 2 of the drummers that really defined that era with their drumming. Travis Barker from Blink182 uses Orange County drums, and Trey Cool from Green Day plays SJC drums. So the guys from Toontrack and engineer John Feldmann really pick the drums that those specific drummers uses on a daily basis or use on a daily basis. And this is kind of like the love for the detail that I really appreciate and love about Toontrack products. They just not release any sort of drum and saying like, this is kind of like pop punk or stuff. They're really looking for every single detail to match the sound, specifically when it's kind of like a signature sound, like in this case. Speaking of the engineer, John Feldmann, so let's go back to the homepage here. John Feldmann, without any doubt, he defined and shaped the sound of this era and this genre, being the mixer for and producer and engineer for Blink182, for instance, and you will find some additional information here in the top. Good Charlotte, Blink182, as I said, 5 Seconds of Summer. He's a guitar player for himself. He makes music, and I think one of the songs that listed here, this one is one of the songs of his band Goldfinger. So really recommend checking this out. So fantastic, but let's talk about the drums themselves. As always, Toontrack provide a lot of different presets. Always like the original mix, which is in the case of an EZX, is always kind of like pre-processed, so no raw drums. But the original mix is like the closest to the raw drum sound that they recorded. So let's have a quick listen on that before I show you some of the presets and talk about why I think that this EZX really stands out. So already here in this original mix, which again is kind of pre-processed, is kind of like exactly the sound that people expect when thinking of Pop Punk EZX. The original mix, as I said, the kick is punchy, has a lot of low end, the snares are cracky. And there was kind of like one complaint that I got sometimes as a feedback from users looking at the broad range of products Toontrack released in the past. People were sometimes saying like the only thing that's really missing is kind of like this modern polished radio-ready sound that some people kind of like are used to looking at Steam Slate drums, for instance. So Toontrack released like a great variety of libraries, and I own quite a lot of them, almost everyone. But they are either dedicated to metal, which is kind of like the heritage of Toontrack anyways, or it's kind of like really specifically has often some vintage character to this, because like especially experienced engineers tend to use like the scratch Ludwig sound, which is great and I love. But there was kind of always this niche that was missing for exactly that genre. This really like not only pop punk but rock and radio ready pop. This is fantastic. So let's look at the specs. I already told you this is almost the exact same setup that Travis Barker uses, and Trey Cool I think as well. So I think Trey Cool sometimes almost used 2 floor toms. But looking at the cymbals, for instance, we have Zildjian, so this is Travis Barker. He uses Zildjian, and we have Meinl as well on every single slot. We just found 2 different cymbals. And what I told about the drums, the same goes for the cymbals. It's no like too much fancy stuff or too much effects cymbals or special cymbals. It's just like, 19-inch Zildjian A custom crash. This always works for rock ready and radio or sound. So let's have a sneak preview on some of the kick drums here. You see just big sizes, 24, 22. A lot of low end, a lot of beef to them, really recorded quite well. I love this relation between like the clicky attack, but not so clicky like a kick metal, and this really like that you feel in your stomach, that beef to the kick drum. On the snares, fantastic sounding snares. You see there's no wooden snare at all, just metal, aluminium, titanium steel snare drums. So all snares that you need that really cut through guitar walls, especially in that genre where you have a lot of guitars going on, aggressively played. So you need some snares that really cut through. Same for the toms, round, warm, with a lot of attack. And I've already tested it on some mixes. Just like throwing some basic EQ using this original mix, and they really react very well to mixing because they're already pre-processed. So you don't need that much processing on them. Slight EQ to further shape the sound, some compression, parallel compression, fantastic sound. So in detail, we have two sets of hi-hats here, the Zildjian and the Meinl Bisons. We have here on the left spot, we have two splashes. The main crash is, as I said, a 19-inch Zildjian A custom. And as I always love, Meinl cymbals, Meinl classic custom dark crash. So two nice textures here sound-wise, a more bright open Zildjian A and the more slightly darker sounding Meinl here. In the middle slot, another Zildjian A custom. So you have a nice like playing between those two. And kind of like an effects symbol here, the Zildjian K custom special dry trash crash, which I think is shown here as well anyways. And on the right side, and this I like this setup, like as a secondary crash, a more darker, bigger, washier sound. So either the Zildjian K custom crash ride, or again, a Meinl classic custom dark crash. And this is the exactly same thing that I had on my setup as well. So a more brighter main crash and a more darker secondary crash. So I get this nice kind of like comparison between the two. And last but not least, of course, a China. So basically, nothing more than you need as a drummer. And this is kind of like a modern approach anyways. Most drummers nowadays just use a one up, one down configuration, two crash cymbals, sometimes splash, China. That's all basically you need to do like fantastic drumming, which Trey Cool and Travis Barker show anyway. The side snare, I think it's the exact same size that Travis uses on his kit, this 7x10 Orange County. And we have, which is nice, two timbales. I don't know how to pronounce it in English, honestly. Timbales? Let me know in the comment section if I spelled that right. So talking about presets, we have two different presets here, or groups of presets, which is one of John Feldmann, the producer of this and the engineer who recorded this EZX, and from Toontrack. And the cool thing that Toontrack recently did, and with this as well, is providing the same presets here as multi-outs. You see on every single, or almost every single preset here, it's kind of like the same copy of those presets here, but saying no bus FX. The reason for that is usually Toontrack, and especially in EZDrummer, they use sometimes some additional kind of like mix bus processing or drum bus processing, adding some EQ compression on the overall drum bus. With the multi-out, you get just like the processing on the individual tracks, like kick, snare, toms, cymbals, overheads, all that stuff, but no compression on the drum bus, which gives you, the user, the musician, the chance to route them out like track by track, just and do some of your own processing. So you get kind of like best of both worlds. You get the good process sounding drums, but you have the freedom to send them into a W, into your mix session, and use some additional processing, which is a cool approach here from Toontrack to provide this. So let's listen to some presets. And I can already tell you that this preset here, which is not dedicated to either John Feldmann or Toontrack, this basic preset is already one of my favorites. It's kind of like a preset that's just enough to give the drums or to make them shine, to process them even more without overdoing it. So let's have a listen. Fantastic. Simply love it. So let's choose one of the more crazy stuff here from John Feldmann, which is called Decapitator. And for everyone of you who's mixing, probably know what the Decapitator is all about. The Decapitator is a plugin. It's a distortion plugin from Soundtoys. One of the best plugins I ever purchased, to be honest. Everything sounds great using the Decapitator. With this preset, though, they went nuts. So let's have a listen. By the way, the MIDI I used here is from the exact Pop Punk MIDI MIDI pack, which Toontrack I think is going to release in some days as an own MIDI pack. So for everyone of you using some or need of some pop punk MIDI grooves, fantastic MIDI grooves. So really great job by the drummer. Another one, but most of the presets honestly are more or less kind of like generic in a good way. So they are shaped in a little direction, but all of them will work instantly. So let's use metalcore here. So give it a second to load, and again. One of the 3 rock presets. Oh, I just forgot to show you the right symbol, 2 as well, again, minor and zillion. And no crazy sizes. This is, again, what I love about this preset pack is really a modern, in-your-face drum sound that you need for modern productions. It's not only punk, it's pop, it's rock, alternative rock. You can use it. So really like in your face, very well done. I'm really, really amazed by this product. So let's pick one of the Toontrack stuff. So the knife is really cool. And by the way, this preset, the knife, which is my second favorite preset, is used on the song of John Feldmann. As Toontrack said, like they used a song which was already recorded, converted the drums from the original song using the tracker feature in Superior Drummer, and used then the preset called The Knife, because the song obviously is called Put the Knife Away. So let's have a listen on the Knife preset. So you see I'm already peaking, so this is rather loud. Quickly go to the original mix, show you some of the channels here. You will find out that the overheads and the ambience are pretty much like straight and clear. So no big, huge room they recorded in, but like a decent room. I mean, usually in pop punk, you don't need those big ambient 80 glam rock sound. You need a straight, clear stereo room, which they provided here. So let's have a listen on some of the channels. So you're, especially here on the ambience channel, though it's the original mix, so here you clearly hear the compression going on and the processing again. And this trash channel here is added by default, so it's kind of like a heavily distorted room microphone in mono, which you can add to really give the drums some beef. Let me check if there's another. No, so basically, again, it's not kind of like a big, huge EZX when it comes to instruments. So it's basically just 5 kick drums, I think 5 or 6 5 kick drums. Some snares, just 3 sets of toms, basically, but it's really enough. It's not like DW or Tama, like the common things. SJC and Orange County drums are really kind of like handmade, and they are special and kind of like custom drums, but they sound amazing. So in what genre this will work? As said, of course, it's clearly 100% pop punk orientated. John Feldmann really knows and understands his job. So this, if you ever are about to produce or to cover one of the songs from this area, from one of those bands, pull one of the presets, it will immediately work. But I think, and I'm really curious to see if I use this like really the original mix and use it for some other styles, because the drums are punchy, probably not really suited for jazz music or singer-songwriter acoustic stuff. But you have quite a lot of other libraries from Toontrack or other companies to use for that purpose. So this is clearly 100% exactly, you get what you pay for. And what's dedicated to. So fantastic job, Toontrack. Really like this a lot. If you have any questions about this library, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this library. I'm really looking forward to some of the new stuff that's been announced this year with the EZ Bass, of course, the orchestral SDX, and of course, at the end of the day, where I'm looking forward the most is the Decades SDX, the new Superior Drummer expansion, which was produced in collaboration with the legendary Al Schmidt. So that's for me for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice day and see you next time. Bye-bye.